Pa bung 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 pa bung bung pa bung 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 pa bung bung ใส่ใส่รอมดิลโบสรองระวังครั้งไปจูบัดเข้าครองต้องติงซอมาร้อยกระป๋องจ้องเด็กยาหรือจ้องเด็กงงมือ
Solid hazardous waste is waste material that exists in a solid form and possesses characteristics that makes it potentially harmful to human health or the environment. Here are some key points to explain solid hazardous waste. Solid hazardous waste refer to waste that is not in a liquid or gaseous state. It can be included items that like contaminated soil, discarded chemicals, or various type of solid materials. What makes it hazardous are certain characteristics such as toxicity, flammability, corrosiveness, or reactivity. These characteristics can pose risk to human health or the environment. Solid hazardous waste can originate from a wide range of sources including industrial processes, manufacturing, agriculture, healthcare facilities, and household. Examples of solid hazardous waste include unused or expired chemicals, asbestos containing materials, lead based paint, electronic waste, contaminated soil, and medical waste, among others. These management and disposal of solid hazardous waste are regulated by the environmental law and regulation to ensure safe handling, transportation, and disposal.
Malaysia has discovered 110 containers of illegally dumped toxic waste in what authorities are calling the biggest finding of its kind in the country's history, according to state media Bernama. The containers were dumped at the port of Tanjung Pelepas, in Johor State. Inside was 1,864 tons of electric arc furnace dust, EAFD, which are a hazardous byproduct of steel production, containing toxic elements such as lead and chromium. They were brought into the country from Romania and falsely declared as concentrated zinc. The discovery of the EAFD, on transit in Malaysia and bound for Indonesia, is the biggest finding of its kind in Malaysian history. Malaysia is sending the waste back to Romania and asking Interpol to investigate. Since China banned plastic waste imports in 2018 in an attempt to clean up its environment, many countries have looked for alternative dumping grounds for their trash, creating problems for countries including Cambodia, Malaysia, and the Philippines. To limit irresponsible dumping, last year 187 countries added plastic to the Basel Convention, a treaty that regulates the movement of hazardous materials from one
country to another. But the problem has continued regardless.
Open dumping in fields and rivers poses a grave environmental threat in Malaysia. One glaring example is the improper disposal of plastic waste in Sungai Kim, Johor. As a result, toxins from illegal dumping led to a severe health crisis in 2019. This reckless practice not only endangers aquatic ecosystems, it can also jeopardizes the well-being of communities relying on these water sources. In the 1980s, the Bukit Merah rare earth scandal unfolded in Malaysia during a period of rapid urbanization and industrial growth. The demand for rare earth elements led to a processing facility in Bukit Merah. But improper waste disposal caused environmental contamination and health issues for nearby urban communities. Local residents and environmental activists initiated protests against the hazardous waste disposal practices. After the closure of the Bukit Merah rare earth processing facility in 1992, the affected community continued to grapple with the long-term consequences of the environmental contamination.
Solution to overcome Basel Convention compliance. The Basel Convention, also known as the Basel Convention on the Control of Transboundary Movements of Hazardous Waste and Their Disposal. It is an international treaty adopted in 1989. The main purpose of the Basel Convention is to protect human health and the environment from the adverse effects of hazardous waste. It aims to minimize the generation of hazardous waste and promote their environmentally sound management, including recycling and disposal. The Convention applies to the transboundary movement of hazardous waste, covering their generation, management, and disposal. It includes both the export and import of hazardous waste. The Basel Convention has played a significant role in raising awareness about hazardous waste management and promoting international cooperation. Provide appropriate storage facilities. Universal waste is a group of hazardous waste generated by a wide variety of people and businesses. This type of waste is more common and poses a lower risk to the people and the environment. Therefore, it is allowed to be managed in a less strict manner, but should never be disposed of in the trash. Universal waste must ship to the Universal Waste Disposal Facility. If it is not an electronic device, store the waste in a box or other container. Repackage broken items in a container to prevent the release of hazardous substance. Next, hazardous waste storage. Hazardous waste container must be maintained in a good condition and stored properly to prevent leaks or damage.
Next solutions for the issue is enforce existing regulation. This includes a few steps such as awareness, which involves making sure that the individuals, organization or other entities subject to regulation are fully informed about the rules and requirements of the place. Another step is monitoring, which involves systematically observing and assessing whether individuals, organization or entities subject to regulation are comply with the established rules. For example, government agencies or regulatory bodies conduct routine inspection or audits for the entities subject to the regulations. The inspection can be scheduled or unannounced to check for the compliance. Lastly, the solution for the issue is assessment and planning. A thorough assessment of the current waste disposal situation in urban areas should be conducted, including historical patterns and challenges. For example, gathering data on the current state of waste disposal in the urban area. This includes the types and volumes of waste generated, the location of dumping sites, and historical trends. This data will provide a clear picture of the problem. Lastly, develop a comprehensive waste management plan that addresses the specific needs and challenges of the area. It's important to involve local government agencies, environmental organizations, community leaders, and experts in waste management in the planning process. These collaborative efforts are more likely to succeed.
It can be concluded the systematic solid waste management is very important in human daily life. For example, combine and integrating the 4R concept into the daily practice of every resident in the country. Solid waste management is very important because it can have a direct and indirect impact on a sustainable environment, where the advantage and benefit obtained from the use of all the important elements of 4R. 4R is rethink, reduce, reuse, and recycle. It is expected to create a better awareness and willingness among the community to minimize solid waste in order to preserve the treasure of natural resource country.